the mother of mankind, cradle of civilization, the heartbeat of creation itself. Now her children return, calling her name again. Say Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life, the mother of life, where the sun first shines, where the sun first shines. Rise again, Alkebulan, rise again, Alkebulan. Hey! Alkebulan, Alkebulan, Alkebulan. Home. Your children are calling, we're coming home. Oh, Alkebulan, the world must know you gave birth to the light, let your glory show. They changed your name to hide your fame. They broke the chains but kept the game. Divided your children with borders and lies, but truth never dies, it only multiplies. We are the sons and daughters of your soil, still rising strong from the years of toil. They took our name, but not our soul. Alkebulan still makes the broken whole. Say Alkebulan, Alkebulan, the mother of life.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another Alkebulan Awakening series in collaboration with Kumbukeni. My name, as always, is Oladile Dosumo. I'm the founder of the Merging Alkebulan. And for all those of us who follow us, know exactly what we do on this platform. We're about decolonizing our minds and awakening our consciousness. And when we're talking about awakening our consciousness, it's about us being Afrocentric in our thoughts and what we're doing. Not looking to the Muzungu for solutions. For so long, we Africans keep going to the oppressors and thinking that they're going to be our liberation, our freedom. People that have kept you down for so long can never be your solution. And that's basically what we do on this platform. So anyway, welcome everybody. Unduku.
Greetings everyone. Karibuni, asanteni kwa kuwa nasi. Welcome and thank you for being with us. The name is Nduku. I'm the host on Kumbukeni, joining my brother again with this collaboration to have important conversations from our perspective, telling our story ourselves. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. Asante.
Thank you. And our big sister, Amake.
Greetings, Kumbukeni and Emerging Alkebulan and everyone who has tuned in. Yes, it's going to be a very important conversation. Some truths will come out that prove the power of the media.
Sure. And also, we got another guest, Musa Mbewe. I'll let her introduce herself as well. Welcome, Musa. Thanks for joining us, my sister.
Thank you so much, dear brother. Thank you. Hello, Kumbukeni. Hello, Sis Kanye. Excited to be here. We're going to have to deal with real matters, the real way. And that's exactly what we intend to do. I always say when we come to this platform, it's not just about us sharing, but it's what we have to achieve, because we need to start taking these conversations away from the screens and we come with the results of what has to be done. And it's very urgent. Hello to everyone who's watching. We are here to ask for that. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister. Okay, guys, the topic today, which is very, 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 very important topic, is we're talking about gender-based violence. Is it a pandemic in Africa? Obviously, we got South African perspectives, but this is happening all over the continent. So today, our sister, Mama Khanyisile, is going to start with that. Gender-based violence. Is it a pandemic? What's going on in Africa with men abusing their mothers, the sisters, their daughters, and their children? Why is it right for we as men to say that this is okay? Why? I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. And I will never, ever do no harm to my mother, my sister, my daughter. So why are men, I'm talking to men, and let the sisters take the floor, but I'm talking to men. Why would you think it's the right thing to abuse your mothers? Mama K.
Thank you, Oladele. I think let's first just quickly say what is gender-based violence.
Thank you.
It's any act that you direct towards an ascribed gender. And we say ascribed because gender is a social phenomenon. Gender is decided by human beings, it's not biology. So it is any act directed towards an ascribed gender. In this instance, it will make them to be women, it will make them to be people from the LGBTQI community, and you ascribe that behavior towards them based on societal norms, meaning let's first agree that society has for a long time agreed to gender-based violence, and we will prove how as the show goes on. Secondly, that behavior can be emotional, it can be psychological, it can be physical, it can be sexual. When we say emotional and psychological, we are talking about gender-based violence in terms of the things you say to people. It's verbal. That's the word I was looking for. So it could be verbal abuse. It could go to include acts like rape, could go to include acts like beating, slapping, could go to include acts like exclusion at work because of your ascribed gender. It could go to include acts like exclusion from particular careers because of your gender. It could go and include acts like being excluded at family level, where all the uncles get together and exclude you, and people claim that's culture, and it's not. The Africans never excluded anyone pre-colonially. Where the prime part of the meat goes to men. I don't know where that came from. It came with poverty. Because in Africa, we have plenty of food for men to decide this is my piece of meat. And
Wow.
a ceremony, and in that ceremony, it is prescribed, and it depends who the ceremony is for. Yes, there were particular, but that was for a ceremony. It did not. I'm talking about everyday food here in household where a man will eat a whole chicken and children are given bones and the gravy. I mean, that comes from just capitalist greed. It's not African culture. So yeah, I think having unpacked GBV, that summarily, let's agree that it is a pandemic in this continent. And for me, as we go into it, maybe we'll unpack more, but my nearest example is always this one. We have produced by election only one female president in this continent, and that is the recent one, Namibia, Mama Nandi. I know that Johnson in Liberia was also elected. I always discard that because the men had fought such a brutal gender-based violent civil war where they would put AKs in the vaginas of women and shoot them through the head, where 16-year-olds were literally eating human liver, thinking they are going to rise and become the next gods. It was so, I don't have the words. I don't think there are human words to describe how the country
Inhuman.
at the end of that civil war, that they then remembered that we need a woman, we need the hoover, the cleanup that will come and swallow all of this and return us to what we are supposed to be. So I don't actually, though she was elected, I know, but I always put this rider so we know for sure the context. And with Joyce Banda in Malawi, a sitting president had passed on and then she popped up like it happened with Tanzania. Comrade Magufuli was murdered, assassinated actually, because he was a president. We don't use murder, he was assassinated. And then she popped up. I mean, she won now by 90-something%. That's not a win. Only
No, she did not. Yeah.
She didn't win. So she has not won, in essence. So only one has won. I mean, since Ghana 1957, guys, it's how many years ago now? It's 2025. The fact that we cannot produce women leaders speaks of a systematic supported and upheld campaign program of gender-based violence in Africa. I think I'll leave it there. And when we come to the why, I will then say why is it like that.
Okay. Musa, I'll bring you in, and then obviously once we bring you in, then we can dive into the topic. Musa Mbewe basically went through a harrowing experience. For those of you who are listening, she went through a harrowing experience a few years back. She's going to share her own story for us, but this basically brings it home in terms of how this actually happens to our women. You know, these are the things that happens every single day. You know, it's kids, you know, we see all the wars, the violence, everything that's happening in Africa today. And these things happen. But anyway, in our own words, Musa, please share your experience with us so we can put it into context. So before my explanation, come back.
Okay, now I will go straight to it. I apologize. I don't know if my screen looks as bad as it does here.
No, you look good.
You look good.
You look
Okay.
good.
All right. I was just, yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to share what happened to me. I'm not going to start where it does not really, sometimes the background also help, but I'm just going to start from where it happened. In 1998, I had started working for Nedbank at that time. Have done well. A girl from Soweto, the dusty streets of Soweto. The space that I come from is called Zola, and when you come from Zola, everybody has an idea of how you're gonna come out as. So because the place is not known for bringing anything that is good or positive. As a result, when you want to sound dangerous, you must tell people that you come from Zola, because that's what people had. And growing up at that time, I just actually looked and I'm like, you know what? I might be from Zola, but I'm not Zola. I'm a person that has got plans and dreams. And for some reason, raised by an old woman who held strong African values. When you come back from school, you're going to clean, you must wash and do all those things. That's how I was raised. Background at home was a very humble one. When you are 11 at home, it's proper. You wake up at the kitchen, that is your space to sleep, and you're looking forward to go home because that's what it is. At some point, the chairs at home didn't even have the legs, you know. So my grandmother used the stones to balance but as long as the house is clean and we can eat. Fast forward. So I studied. I studied against what I saw happening. And I did very well. Started school when I was 4 years. When I was 8 years, I was already in a higher primary. That time it's standard 3. Standard 3 is grade 5, is it? I think it's grade 5. And when I was 11 years, I was the last born at school, and I did I started matric. And because I'm coming from a very humble background, I never got to these things that teenagers get to do, of having to have boyfriends at that time. Another thing, poverty does have a way of keeping you ugly enough for whoever that believes in it. So yeah, I'm talking about the background of what is, you know. So as a result of that, I never engaged in those things. I didn't qualify. Anything that qualifies you to be, which was wearing a short dress, I would not have, because my grandmother would not allow. Having a hair done at the salon, I would not, because we didn't have those things. So fast forward, I started working when I was very young, because I did well. So I finished school at 15 years, and at that time I started studying. I started studying when I was working for Nedbank. I was hired by Nedbank when I was 18 years, and I got my first paycheck, which was big at the time. It was 3,500, I remember, and I could actually afford to have it. Something in my mind, something that I wanted to do for a very long time, was to buy groceries with a trolley, because at home we never had to go to the supermarket to buy. It is when there is no cooking oil, my grandmother will say, take care, go and run and get cooking oil. When there is no salt, you go and buy. That's how we had. And what I wanted to do for my grandmother was to push that trolley. And, you know, so when I got my salary, I went there, didn't even have a car. I packed everything I wanted. And I was like, I think my grandmother, and the things I saw when I visit other people when the schools are closed and they are packing out, I put everything there. I remember getting home, and my grandmother was looking with the tears, happy that my child is doing it. And I felt, this is just so good. I'm going to continue to make her proud. Working for Nedbank at the time, I remember our CEO was Richard Lobsher, and I had the brains that love accounting, economics, and all those things. So we used a calculator called HP12. So you would calculate and do an amortization schedule at the time to balance what is on the system. And this very same girl from Zola said the computer is not accurate this time, because if the interest rate drop with 0.5 basis, it means this is a de-escalation and this is how much it's going to be. Fast forward, I proved to them that what I was saying was right. And Dr. Globes, I wanted to know who's this woman. So they sent people to come and sit with me. They created a structure called PEX, which is Process Enhancement Group System. And I was sitting there telling them that this is what you do. So they created a system because of this. Automatically, what happened? Money came in. Good money for a cherry from Zola. I started, and I remember I bought myself a car. We never had a brand new car. In fact, the car that was there at home was bought, maybe it was fifth hand, if there's anything like that. And it has never moved. It was just parked there. And I bought a car. The car I bought that year was a Land Rover Freelander, 0 on the clock, baby, tire at the back. I'm telling you, you know. And that for me, you know, every time I share, I keep saying to people, it is not me proving how I made it, you know, comparison with other people. But I am saying to my yesterday, you lied to me when you said a girl from Zola is not going to do that. When I came with the car, it was delivered at work, Net Park. And so we were following. My aunt was in front, and my grandmother with her hands on both her hips, and she was wearing a thing, and she was like this is on the street as we were coming with this car, my child, you know. And she even said, now Mbewe, meaning even you, Mbewe, you are not a minor, you know, you are not that little, because you're able to produce that. And that was it. When you drive a car like that, my brother, you would get a call from the dealer. You know, they will call and say, hi ma'am, we just want to check if the car is okay. You know, is everything okay with you? I loved getting those calls. At the time, it's just an open plan. So I'd move from the desk. You know why I'd move from the desk? I wanted my white colleagues to be the one that calls me to say it's Land Rover, because even they did not have the Land Rover, baby. You know, so I'd move to have them call me for that. And so you get those calls. And this one time around, I'm trying to also crash to make sure we don't waste on time. I received the call and like, ma'am, we just want to check, is the car okay? I'm like, yes, the car is fine. Sure, yes. Okay, we would just like to recall the car, because we want to see if it doesn't have a latent defect, because we picked up that there is something wrong with those cars. So we'll take it in the morning, but before you knock off, it will be back. I was okay. This tall white man came to my desk, and that alone was something else. I don't know why, even from that time, but I gave them the keys and said, ma'am, we're going to bring the car. I'm like, cool. So they went, and 20 past 3, they called to say, we think we are delaying with the car. So we're going to bring you a courtesy car, and then we'll bring the car when it's late. In my mind, I was like, I'm a cherry from Zola. I've been using taxis before I got this car, so it's not going to be a train smash. I had an appointment with the doctor that day, and my appointment was not something even that much, because now I had a medical aid, so I was going for everything to the doctor. I was just going for everything, just for my teeth, you know, just for everything. So I said to them, don't worry, I'll use taxis today. But if the car is not ready tomorrow, please consider to bring me a courtesy car that day, when everything is just starting to happen. I dropped off from a taxi, which was going that direction, which is going to Zola. And there's a medical center here, and there's a doctor and the filling station. So there was a car that was parked there. It was a silver BMW. For some reason, I drive a same car like that. I don't know why, but it was parked there. And so the guy down the window, like, can we give you a lift? I'm like, no, don't need to. I'm just going across. I'm here to see the doctor. Are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. So I got inside. When I got to see the doctor, at the time, you see now when the money comes, that ugly that was there, you know, you start looking also good. There's something, you're able to buy things that suit you, you know. And even the doctor was, for some reason, I remember Mish, he was like saying that, oh man. So when I got to him, I said, you know what, I'm not going to be long because I don't have a car. He says to me, why don't you wait for me, Pindi, and then I'll drop you when I finish. I'm like, you're going to be late. I saw the patients that are out there. I'll be good. It was not very dark, but it's just starting to be dark. When I came out after the whole time that I've spent inside, the very same car was now parked by the gate of the doctor, facing the directions. 4 guys inside. Those guys were decent. They were decent. In fact, I don't understand. In my clean mind, I was like, why don't you just come out and ask for numbers? I'll give you, because there's no way I will answer 4 guys in the car. So I didn't. I didn't respond to them. And as I was crossing, they said, "You are now done." I said, "Yes, I'm done. So can you give you a lift?" I said, "No, you can't give me a lift." It's there and there. The language changed. The doors opened, and they said, "Why are we begging this bitch?" Took me. They grabbed me. At that time, people were there. This one, it's it. People were there watching. So they grabbed me. I remember the buttons, because I was wearing corporate wardrobe, they popped. I was, for some reason, what was happening there was like a slow motion of something I didn't understand. So they grabbed me, put me into the car. You see the space of the front seat and the passenger seat there, in between, how small it was. They pushed me inside, and right there in the car, they were hitting me. I was bleeding, and they forced me to perform blowjob on them at that point. And I was just, because it just didn't make sense. Fast forward, they drove me to this place, this house, where they repeatedly raped me, that I couldn't cry. It was so brutal. It was so brutal. It got to a point where I couldn't drop a tear anymore. I was looking, trying to find this God that my grandmother told me will protect you. And I'm trying to look at my life, at the things that I did and I did not do. Why am I supposed to be here? And I looked and I could not find him. You know, all these songs that my grandmother would tell me about, it just never made sense. But in fact, it was just so bad. When they were done, they felt they were done. You know, when scissors comes apart like this, right? In fact, at that incident, they took my panties, they rolled it like this, they shoved it inside my mouth. They took my bra, they tied my hands at the back. And the whole time with your hands on the floor like this, the pain, I felt as if these parts were coming out, and it just did not stop. The only sound that was there was just of, but it was just tears, and I just couldn't wait for that to end. But I also was looking forward to the end of it, because it was just so much. And then they wanted to, so they took the things, they shoved it underneath my inside. They pushed them up there, and they wanted to know, what do we do with this mess? And the mess was this woman that they wanted to do, and they knew exactly what to do. They decided to take a gun, 2 bullets, my stomach, and they went to dump me by Mzimhlophe railway line. Days goes, not coming back. At the time,
she froze there. Oh, so she's coming back. Bring it back. Oh, it says.
Okay, yeah, I was sorry. It's just the network here. Yeah, so, and they did not know where I was. I'm not coming back. This beautiful car and everything that has happened, nothing made sense. I was there in that room. I remember it was after days when they brought my mom to say, we know where the child is, and they came to find me. At the time, my stomach was open from underneath my breast, going down, because the one bullet was stuck close to my spine, which was threatening mobility, so they could not move it. So I had the drills of going in and out of the theater. So I knew the drill. I stayed so long in that hospital. I remember they said to me, they came in, they said, hey, we want to take the bloods and see if you don't have AIDS. Those years we never had HIV, we only had AIDS, and everything about it was so bad. It was so bad that the stigma, I wouldn't touch you if I thought you had it. That's how bad it was. So they took the bloods, and the bloods came back, and they said, no, your results came back and you are negative. And I was excited. But they told me that you're going to come back to you after the winter period, which is 6 months. In that time, I've never left the hospital, because I'm still going for all the treatment and that. Those ones, when they dumped me, they thought I was dead. So they didn't see a need of doing much into covering the act, because their work was done and it was there. And I remember it was December the 16th, and we are going to the 16th, and I'm coming back. But when they came and they said, ma'am, we're here to take the bloods. I actually knew everything. That's how long I was in the hospital. I knew when the nurse leaves and she's on leave. I'm like, okay, this one is knocking off, so who's coming in on duty? And they say, we're here to take the bloods. I said, okay. which bloods? And they said, no, for AIDS. And the other, I'm like, okay, fine. So I extended my hand so easy because the results came, if they wanted to do that, and they took the bloods. I was coming back from the theater. Usually when you come back from the theater, they don't give you the injection there. They want you to wake up in the ward so they can just, check if you're okay. Then they can give you something to suppress the pain because you would have had a fresh cut or that. And when I walked in the ward, there was everyone. There was a clinical psychologist, there was a psychiatrist, there was a matron, there was everyone in the room. And
yeah, just bear with us, guys. Where she is, she's in Zambia at the moment, and the network's not that bad, but she's coming back. So just bear with us.
Yeah sorry. So as they wheeled me from the bed and they were exchanging everyone, I could just see that something is wrong. So they changed the beds, and when you are comfortable, but people are trying to do everything to cover you when you're covered. And I could feel that this is just it. I'm like, okay, enough now. In my mind, what could be worse than what I've been through? What is it? So, and I'm asking, okay, tell me what is going on. You remember the bloods we took? I said, which bloods? Because we take a lot of bloods. Those bloods for AIDS. And I said, yes. They said the blood results came back and you've got AIDS. I said, what? And they said, yeah. Don't worry. If you take your medication well, you could live up to 10 years. 10 years? So I'm supposed to sit here and start counting. Tomorrow when I wake up, I'm 9 years, 364 days. 300 is that's what's supposed to be happening. But the medication, when you take it, it's going to disform you. There's another thing there. There's something there about that medication. Well, they don't say disform you, but they say, that's the term they use. But everybody that started taking medication at the time, they look alike. They look the same. You'd see them. You would know if you're a woman, you're going to have big bust and a big belly, and there's just something that does. Even men. So everyone was looking like that. And I'm like, but why am I supposed to be taking this thing that is going to do this to me? I didn't want anything that is going to show the incident that happened to me, not even about the AIDS that I didn't know. I just didn't want anything that's going. So if now that I've survived it, I must now live with it and everything attaches to this. I think they tried initiating me with the medication. And I said, no, this is not going to be my portion. And I wanted to read about what is this AIDS? What is this AIDS? What does it do? And truth be told, what Umando and Thabo Mbeki said, people should not listen to me with the wrong ear and stop taking their medication. So I read about that, and I read the beetroot, the garlic, the vegetables that when you wash them, and I would wash them, and make sure that, and I will blend them and take.
Yeah, bear with us, guys. Bear with us. Let's bring it back. Whew. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, okay.
So for 14 years, I managed to stay without taking any medication because I was reading about it. At that time, I did not want to tell my family what was happening because I knew they were going to kill me. They were not informed about this. And at that time, people were dying like crazy. And I'm like, I'm not going to add on that statistic. I can't win that other battle of being brutally raped, of being shot, and now I'm going to have this. This is just not going to happen. But I never told them because of how it was. They were not going to touch me. They were not going, I didn't want that. And so I didn't tell them. Fast forward, maybe let me just get to this point. I managed to remember those ones didn't cover their act because their person, the victim, died. So I remember, how bad it is that if anything is as minute as a smell of a roll on a perfume that smells like that takes you to in this time, as I'm sitting here right now, everything about it. When they say intimacy or sex is spiritual, it's because you can smell everything. Automatically, you feel everything that is happening around. But fast forward, I told the police, I remember where I was. I remember that. First, they got that. They arrested the guys. 3 of them, I'm trying to rush that part. 3 of them died.
Take your time, sis.
Okay. So when we went to look for them, they found one that still goes to the very same house. It turns out that's the room that he has, which he uses for whatever it is, but he's got a girlfriend that he stays with in the home. So this room is just for these activities and that. And it made sense because all these guys were professional. None of them had a criminal record. None of them. They've not done anything. And as I said, they're decent guys. So when I was saying these are the guys that did this, it made sense to everyone to insult me, to say I'm supposed to do that because I'm a wounded woman who has been through so much, and I'm trying to just make sure I mess other people's lives. Who's saying this? Their girlfriends. I remember when we started going to court, because when they caught them, they were as they were attending the court. This lady, who is one of the girlfriends of this one, when they wheeled me to the court, when the case had started, this lady came and she came close to my wheelchair and she spat like this, and she said, "Do you think my man will fall for someone like you? You know, you're not even his type." And you know. But fast forward on that point, the one guy, when I was getting prepared, I remember Dr. Mzinya Time, his soul rest in peace, he was my clinical psychologist. He said, "Pindi," that time my name was Pindile. My name was Pindile. When I was born, I was given the name Pindile Primrose by my mother, and which I changed after my that experience, because I feel it's pure grace that I'm alive and that I want to be a blessing to other people. That's how I've got the Musa blessing, but that's not my name. And I remember he says to me, "I know it's not going to be easy, but I want you to tell your story because no one is going to tell it like you." At that time, people who were supporting me were everyone external, not my family. Do you know why? Because I did not want them to know what was happening. So as a result, I closed them out to not be part of the whole process. So it was so lonely, but it was better with the strangers and everyone else, than to let them know what was going on. And on the day, he says to me, "You need to, I want you to, I'm going to push you to that mirror and you must look at yourself and say, there goes that beautiful woman again." Do you know how I feel at that time? I feel like I'm smelling. I feel everything that is wrong. I feel it introduced me to that every time I could just feel that when people see me, even in my pose, that's just how that, and he wanted to bring that thing out to say to yourself, there goes that beautiful woman again. No one has taken anything from you, but I wanted to go and tell your story because it's going to make better sense. I was being prepared. I remember I was actually even undergoing the hypnosis, when they were trying to assist me to prepare me for court, which I don't think really works, because the other thing about the rape, we don't want these books where people are going to be coming to us with what they've learned and they tell us this is how you deal with it, because it has nothing to do with that. It's different. And for some reason, it gets better when someone has walked the journey, because they can, you can relate to that. So that's the reason why a number of people that have been through this experience don't want to go for counseling, don't take the counseling, because you're thinking, what do you even know, to sit there and, but yeah. So as I was being prepared, that day I was supposed to go. The guys are coming up for the court. It's the 4 of them, and they stand there. And this one is busy irritating his attorney, the lawyer, Siskani. And the magistrate gets irritated and says, "What is happening there?" And he says, "Does the client want to say something?" It's yes. He says he wants to say something. So I allow him to speak. And the guy says, he looks at me and he looks at his friends. I remember this as if it were yesterday. He looked down like this. He had the type of tears that dropped directly from his eyes to the floor. It didn't touch any part of his body. That's how it does. And he says, "I don't know about the others, but as for me, I don't think I want to cause this woman more pain." And this is the guy now that became the state witness that made my things easy, that the 4 of them passed. Okay, I'm gonna pack that one of the process that it took. So I had to be very careful with my health, anything that happens, because I don't want people to know that I've got this AIDS now and all that. So This one day I had a pimple that was just here by my navel. It was just one pimple. It was uncomfortable. So I remember I drove to the doctor. And when I got there, I said, no, there's a pimple here that is worrying me. And he says to me, don't worry, it's nothing big. I'll give you an injection. He gave me an injection. Next day, those things were so many. It was pimple, shingles. They starting this way around. I could not do anything. The way I dislike hospital because of the time that I spent there, I decided I drove myself to Malbatin Hospital. Then I went to the doctor. And they took the bloods, they pumped me with IV treatment, and they took the bloods, and they said, you know what, the viral load is way, I don't know how many, what was the number, but what I know is that my immune system only had 2. And he said, there's no way you're going to survive this unless you start taking the medication. And I remember because I was like, because this medication will disform me. And the doctor said to me, I remember her words, because it was a woman. She said to me, it's okay, the medication has been changed. It's better now. It's just 1 tablet and you will keep your bums, because I said, this is how they, So I'm like, okay, will I? Okay, that's fine. I think that's going to work. Let me try this 1 tablet. I started taking the tablet. Every time I must drink it at the same time at night. And that, remember, no one knows at home what is going on. Nobody. So I took the medication at night. The nightmares, the hallucination of these things, that it was bad. It was bad. I wake up the following day, when you want to go to bed, you're continuing with the same dream, and all those, it just never made sense. And the tablets itself are spiritual, because it was just a routine of what is happening. Day number 4, I was not looking forward to go to bed. I wasn't. And I drove to the hospital. It was because the medication was not, you wouldn't get it private at the time. I went to Joburg, and when I get there, before I could actually ask, the doctor said, oh, does the medication also give you nightmares? I said, So what type of medication knows what dreams to give me? Why is this medication doesn't make me dream being in Zanzibar, sipping on some cocktails and being pretty there? Why does it choose the nightmares, And he said, it's initiation. No, don't worry. It's initiation for 1 month. That word alone, initiation. I said, no ways. At that time I was a crazy Christian, because I dumped God, and then, but I just came to this thing, God is making me okay. And I was like, initiation? The word alone was enough. I said, nonsense, I'm not going to take this medication. I went home. At that point, I stopped. I pulled a plug on my life, because everything that was happening, because I'd introduced the drug in my system. So the virus gets angrier. So everything that was there, it attacked every part of my body, that I literally, I know this because I would use this to close here. I was so sick that I didn't have to tell anybody. Everybody knew that was AIDS. At that time, I'm now a consultant at the bank. I was moved from the private clinic to Helen Joseph, which is a public health, from where when they say, ma'am, if you can't take your tablets, just try and have a bite and drink the water. And I wake up where they say, hey, are you drinking the medication or what? We're not here for you, And I had I had C. diff. Now, C. diff is also, it's contagious. So they had to put me in the private room. The room I was in is the room that is just behind the nurses. And I remember this woman saying to me, you know what? There's only one door here. One door. It goes straight to the mortuary, and I wanted to fight. I could have strangled her because I was angry at what is fight, because anything that was there was just my head that was hanging. But even the breast and those bumps that the doctor said I'm going to keep, everything, I was literally bones. The pains were so much, everything. My organs were just failing. And I then had no choice there. They didn't even ask me, do you want? They said, we're going to keep, I had TB in the stomach, which is more because it was not in the lungs and that. So everything was damaged. So they were giving me a lot of medication. They introduced ARVs at the same time with the TB treatment, which is painful on its own. Those are other subjects we're supposed to be talking about, the treatment that has been given to the people. But so they initiated me on this medication. I got worse. I got worse. I remember I couldn't turn myself. I couldn't do anything. I had the Bible at the time, my brother. The only thing I could do with the Bible. I couldn't even recite the Lord's Prayer, which I know by heart. Everything was gone. I remember in my mind, there was just one thing that says, I'm going to live and not die. I didn't even know what it meant at that time. I take the Bible and press where it's uncomfortable until Dr. Spencer came this one day. He came and said, how long is this patient been like this? They said, if we take together with the time, it's over 18 months from the private hospital to here. And he says, if I come back on Monday and this patient is like this, we are pulling the plug. I could hear, but I couldn't speak. So I could hear everything. And so I just left because he was not talking to me. I was talking to them as, and I was there. And lo and behold, Monday came. And when they came, he did not see I was there because it was cold. So I had covered myself with the blankets, but I was literally bone. So he had a tablet and something that he had. So he threw the tablet on top of me whilst I was in bed, and he sat down. A few minutes, Dr. Spencer remembered. And I remember his voice said, sister, how long am I going to bloody wait for the bloody patient? And the sister came shaking, opened the blanket. And when he saw I was there, he said, this is it. You're pulling the plug. Call the family. Call everyone. Call my family. And they said, you can see. There's nothing we can do anymore. You can see her anytime you want to see her. If you want to sleep here, you can, but there's nothing. Because something as small as an injection. So they were pumping me with morphine. So the morphine suppresses your respiratory system, so you can die a peaceful death, because they can't treat. They couldn't treat. There was nothing to treat, So they were pumping me with morphine. And the sister, remember, she came with an injection with tears, and she says to me, you know what? You know what we call this? You know the song that says "Killing Me Softly"? That's what is happening, and I don't want you to take this morphine. Morphine, before we judge everyone because we think we know. I don't know how heaven is if it is there, but there's something that the tablet, as they inject you, it starts from the head. You can just feel like someone is holding you with your hands like this, taking away everything that is pain, and it's so peaceful. You can't wait for the next dose of that because it goes off your system. That's the only thing that sustains you. And this sister is saying to me, you must stop taking this medication. But I can't motivate for you because I'm not a doctor. You need to tell the doctor yourself that you don't want to take the morphine. And I said, okay, I will do. So he said, and ask them for the tablets. Don't drink them. So they came with the tablets. The tablet is purple. I remember the color. And every time they give you a morphine, they must sign for it, and you must drink it there. I'll take the medication as if I'm drinking the water, and I don't. And I'll tilt my head and take those things and shove them under the pillow. From the transition of the peace I was getting from morphine with my body, that was not getting anything now because they are not healing, was death on its own. It was the worst thing ever. I've spent something that's over 8 months where I had no reason to smile. I didn't even know how it was to smile because of the pains that were in my body. And when Dr. Spencer came with his plan of pulling the plug, and they realized, because at the time as they willed me, when my daughter came, the doctor said there's something that is not lost. They had to resuscitate me back, right? Because after the disconnection, the time that was so long, and they so sure it was done. The doctor said, but there's nothing you can do. Even if you can do that, you can't treat. So take her to go and die at home. So I was taken to go and die at home. Fast forward, I never did. I think that's something else on that. But I remember the first time I wanted to eat something, I wanted the chicken feet. My mom ran as if she was a young child. She ran to the station because I needed something to eat. And then because they had to now, when they discharged me, I had to have the medication, but it was also with the morphine. So they gave me the ARVs and the TB treatment. It was a lot of treatment. I was this patient that other patients, when they see me, when I was already discharged, they would say, no, push her forward, this one. That's how other patients who were there in the queue would say, there's no way you're going to sit with this one. When they needed to initiate me with the training, and this lady said, there's no way I can give counseling to this woman. This woman must go back to the hospital because that's just how it was. But fast forward, and my mom went and prepared that. She was so happy. When after, I think, over 5 months I've been thinking, my mom, I stood up and I lifted my head. My mom was clapping hands as if I'm a baby to say, she lifted lifted her head. That's how bad I was. People would come, to see me at home, and they look at me and they couldn't. My stepdad would stand outside and call the women that are going for prayer and say, come and pray for my child, she's dying. At the time, things were happening gradually, and I was recovering a little bit, although it took time. Fast forward, spark that one on the topic that we are in 4 years ago.
It's all right, sis. Take your time. Take your time, sis.
Four years ago was load shedding. So my daughter calls me. We had a funeral. We had lost someone at home. One of my cousins. So my daughter calls me and she says, "Mama," I think it was about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. "Mama, I have not done. No, I forgot my laptop and I need to submit my assignment today. So please take me." I said, "Nonsense, not done assignment. There's no university that's going to give an assignment that needs to be done today. If they gave you this assignment and it's due, they gave you long time ago and you never did it. So there's no way I'm going to leave this. Find a way to go and get the laptop." Daughter, she's doing her third year.
I think she lost her signal again.
Yeah, oh, she's coming back. She's coming back. Yeah, she's where she is.
The system gave me a break itself.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
it's fine.
So
The ancestors.
Yes, abogogo nabomkhulu. So she called a boyfriend who is a 4th year university acquiring accountant student, doing well. He goes to school and then weekends he works for Budget Insurance, where they rent out the cars and things like that. So he had access to the car. They came to me because he came, and this young man, full of respect, he's a Zimbabwean, and he came and he knelt there because I'm a very strict parent. I'm like, there's no young man that's going to stand up, because I was sitting in the car. Say, "Hello, Mama, I've just come to pick him." Like, "Why did you accompany this one that didn't even go and get the things?" And it was just okay. So we finished late at home and I went to my place. 1:15, somebody jumped my gate and is knocking on the window because my phone stays on silent. It's my brother. It's Pindile. Like, "What's going on?" Vula, open the door. I open the door, says, "Get dressed." I was dressed. I'm like, "No, so get dressed." I was wearing a night. I know it was also nothing else. I said, "No." My first question was, "Where is Mbumi?" I wanted to know where my daughter was. And she says, "Ukhona." I'm like, "Where is Mbumi?" But I could see that something is serious. And I'm getting into the car and they're driving me. And the lady that she was with, who was my other brother's girlfriend, she was in tears at the time. And as we came from the corner, there were cars and this yellow strip they use to close the street there. I didn't take notice of the foil there, because what happened is that when they came back, it was load shedding. So the young man was going home, and as they parked there, the guys came with the guns and they knocked at the window. The others were on the side, and the others were on the side of my daughter. And so the young man opened and like gave them the keys. I think he was scared. As he was running away, they followed him and they shot him 2 bullets. He died. at the gate at home, and they took my daughter. And they gang raped her, the four of them there. She says, Mama, I didn't even know where I was because they'd closed me with a packet of something, so I didn't know. And all the time, I was not even far from home. She's saying they asked her her surname, and she's saying, Mama, I was even saying to them, because they were older than her, and she says, I was even saying Malume to them, and that didn't work. So they gang raped her, and they were gone, this young man. So when I arrived, I didn't see the foil that was there because I was just looking for my daughter, and she was inside the police van. I came in. When I came there, she says, Mama, they shot Arthur and he's dead. So I went and I moved the tape and I opened. I saw that young boy lifeless there. So we had to go to the scene because they asked me to a thingy, and the police were saying no. We went to there's a clinic called Ntabiseng where we had to stay with her. I didn't know what to say to my daughter because she was there and she was not trying not to cry. She was just the biggest problem that I think she had at that time, because they took their phones, they took their laptops, they took the car. So the police are saying to me, no, please wait for us, because it was a Saturday morning. Please wait for us. We will go and find the family on Monday. I said, no ways. If the tables were turned and my daughter had died at the gate of this child's home, and I'm going to wait for the police to come and tell, that will never happen. I came from the hospital still wearing nothing, and I called someone to say, just come and drive me. We went to Facebook. We were looking for the contacts of anyone, their friends, and anyone trying to find the mother, so we can just at least let her know where good behaving son is. So my daughter couldn't go and sleep and dig all those things. They did their test, and we went looking for her, and we found a trace, and we got to this place in Sandton. When people say Sandton, you would think everybody is living okay, because Sandton is, Sis Khanye will know, when you say you stay in Sandton, got to this place. It's rooms, man. It looks like it's just one room. The room is like so small. Before we got there, we sat outside because the mother went to church, and she came back. She said, where is my son? Oh, it's my son.
Are you okay, sis?
Yeah, she's fine.
She's good.
Before we could answer, she was already rolling on the floor with her hands on her head. So I had to tell her, because the Mamdlomo who accompanied me said, you're gonna have to be the one that does it. My daughter was there from the very, because I wouldn't leave her and come and say this what happened. So from the hospital, we went with her, and so we got to the house where she stays. This woman, stays with the two sons who are not young. She sleeps on the bed here. They sleep on the floor. When you are sitting, your knees are touching this place, which the stove and everything that she has. I don't know what they do at night, whether they move this bunk stool. And this young man was the only hope that was close to taking her out of where she was, because he was doing her year number 4 as an accounting student. He is gone. She's got no plan. Fast forward. We told her the news, and we did what had to be done. To this day, we have appeared more than 16 times at court. Every time we have to go to court, we literally are not okay with Mpumi for a week before. And I go with my daughter, who says, I know what my mom went through, so I don't want her to be, I want to be strong for her. And I'm there, and I'm like, I don't want her to go through it, because I want to be strong for her. So we are there, lying to each other, but I make sure that she never goes to the court by herself. Every time we get to court, today they will tell you the docket was not brought. It's still on remand. The trial has not started. The guys were caught, because after that incident, I called Mama Faith, and I needed her to assist me with the police. And I remember speaking to Brigadier. I said, because my daughter was victim number 18 of these guys that are known. Because after her incident, the other girl was also raped. So they had this belief that when they have shot and killed a person, when you sleep with a woman, you cleanse yourself or whatever, the darkness. I think that's what their nyangas tell them or whatever. So when I heard that, I was angry. I told Brigadier Shibud, I said, you are the one that made my daughter to go through this. So I was mad. I was a mad woman. But he said to me, we're going to find them. So they followed up. Yes, they are all caught. But to this day, the trial is not happening. So we are still going through secondary abuse of going to the court. Do you know the questions they ask you in court when you've been raped? My brother. Do you know them? You don't know them?
No, you tell me.
What did you do to cause it?
Yeah, that one they don't. They will ask you, if you say accused number 5 or number 4 is the one that penetrated you. How big? They ask you how big was it. So I must, when I'm being raped, I must have a measurement tape that will let them know. How could I tell? Do I know the size of this one? And that how do I know? Because you are saying at the time you were in so much pain. So how do you know he's the one that has done that? So she's supposed to have to know those answers. What position were you when accused number 2 was? Those are the questions.
Wow. Wow.
And then they want you to say it, or they will, because sometimes you can't use a word. He put his penis on me, as if you're talking about a man you love, that so they would want you. It's like you must romanticize this thing, because they have to prove a point that even after the DNA has proven, after the DNA has been proven, you will go through that. Then they will say, we'll give you a break. You're going to go there for consultation. When you are sitting here, there's another family that they've got their own daughter who's a victim of something else. So you are sitting here, you don't even have privacy. Now you must speak your story because the prosecutor didn't get some. That's what is happening. at the present moment. This is what is happening. So they will ask you, okay, this is what you're going to be asked in front of those people who are going to be there, because there's no space. Even the way the issues of yeah, can I pause here maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can pause it. You can pause it. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fine. Thank you very much for your story.
Yeah.
Mama K, I'll pass it over to you. Why? Why do you think this is happening? That's the question.
I think firstly, we feel your pain, Musa. Sadly, it's not an isolated pain, it's a pain. Women from Cape to Cairo and from Morocco to Madagascar would talk about some even worse stories than this.
Yeah.
Why is it okay? Before we get to the why, Musa said the people who rape her daughter do that because they believe after they've killed someone and they sleep with a woman, they get cleansed because that's what their inyanga tells them. So, for the sake of the viewers, let's correct that language, please. Inyanga, translated into English, is a healer. No healer can tell you that. So they don't consult healers. Bushire is not a pastor. He is a demonic, evil, possessed person. Those people are not Izinyanga, they're not healers. They are just in Bushire's league. You get those people in religion, you get them in spirituality. They crossed the line long ago. They are evil. They are not here to heal anything. They're here to break everything. So yeah, I thought that needs to be corrected. And then why is it happening? You can't separate neoliberalism and gender-based violence. The sooner women understand this, the better. And actually, all Africans, because the issue with following a socialist state is more a Southern African passion. East Africans have been convinced that Russia is evil. Therefore, because socialism was first practiced in Russia, socialism is evil. They hate Russia. They don't know why they do, because CNN said so. So is West Africa, so is North Africa. The only people in this continent who can stop and engage you when you say capitalism versus socialism are Southern Africans. And they also, because of the history of our struggle, because we were supported by socialist countries. And while I'm not advocating for Marxism, Leninism as was practiced in Russia, we need to get our own brand. Cuba did, it's just that America would not let them breathe. China is doing it the Chinese way. We know that's a mix of everything, but they call it Chinese socialism. So we need to get away from neoliberalism, people, which is the highest stage of capitalism. It is embedded within neoliberalism that violence is part of the system. It's not just GBV. It's violence of bigger nations against smaller nations. That's how capitalism was built. That's how colonialism happened. The stronger and bigger nations attack the smaller ones. And then the man who works, because that's how capitalism developed in Africa, they put the woman aside, who initially was the agriculturalist. They made her to be pregnant and barefoot at home, unemployed. The men brought the money. So it gives them power immediately. So the powerful, who is the breadwinner, who is the man, will then unleash the violence to the woman. But he is suffering his own violence at work from the white man, or even within people of color, there's violence, by the way, it cascades, because in South Africa, colors were told they are second-class citizens, Indians third, and we are the scum of the earth. So sometimes you feel that violence as an employee from your colored and from your Indian supervisor or employer. So it cascades. It's neoliberalism is a violent system. There's no two ways about it. Neoliberalism is a system that says it's okay not to tax the wealthy, and no one's taxing the wealthy, by the way, in the whole world. It's not just Africa, it's just that in Africa we cannot afford it. But no one's taxing the wealthy. States go after pay as you earn, or they go after what we call regressive tax. instead of saying there's a shortfall in the budget this year, Enoch Godongwana, the Minister of Finance in South Africa, will say, oh, okay, we have a shortfall. He will not say, how many companies doing business here have made money out of slavery? Heineken is one of them, by the way. They did make money out of slavery. So let's leverage what we call a reparations tax and get money from them. How many of these companies are $1 million company? No, they will say, who are the powerless? It's the pay-as-you-earn people, the citizens. So how can we leverage more tax? Let's come with taxing alcohol, taxing cigarettes. They call them luxury products. The capitalist system is so violent. I'm not promoting alcohol, but people need that. You know, they need a break. But they will tax that, and then they will say, what else can we tax? We think they have a lot of cars. Let's have a fuel levy. What else can we tax? Let's add tax to any sales, you know, include sanitary towels there, which is a necessity. People must pay VAT. Those are aggressive taxes, and we will understand this. So it's a system that is so violent that it promotes within itself for the stronger to eat the weaker up, for the stronger to emit their frustrations on the lesser. So for as long as we have neoliberalism and we are not taxing the wealthy, we are moving social services, or what we call care, onto the burden of a woman. People think this is not related to rape at the end, what happened to Musa. Oh, it is very much connected. When you don't tax the wealthy and you tax the poor and you make them even more poorer, on the go on that household, we are bringing conflict, because Bob Marley has a song. He says some people have hopes and dreams, some people have means and ways. People who have means and ways don't have time for morality and ethics. It's a fact. They're trying to survive. One, two, that burden falls on the woman, which means it frees the men even more to go and have hope and have dreams, but the woman cannot. She said when she was telling a story, I grew up the traditional way. It's actually not the traditional way, it's a neoliberal way. When you come back from school as a girl, you will clean, you will wash this, you will do this, but the boy is just free. They can roam around, you know, but come back at 7 o'clock to come and eat. It's neoliberalism, because in Africa, there were job descriptions. Boys were the head men, the men did this, the women tilled the soil, planted. Everybody contributed to the food that at the end of the day becomes a communal meal that everybody eats. Neoliberalism says, no, we don't like that. We'll put that burden on the women. Because we don't have enough money as the government, because we are not taxing the wealthy, we are going to cut on spending, on education, on health. So when people are sick, it will be the women that look after them, unpaid. That's why we talk about unpaid care work. The woman is so burdened under neoliberalism that they then turn around. And remember, the dilemma with neoliberalism, my brother and my sisters, is that it gets worse by year. So in Europe, in the 20th century, there was no protest because they were still eating off the benefits of colonialism and slavery. It's the 21st century, they are protesting every day because now they are seeing the evil of capitalism. It's gotten harder now even for them. So when that happens, it means for Africa, it's even worse. Then people say, oh, women have changed. They now want to drink in public. They are more disrespectful. No, they have been brutalized and they've suffered violence so much. They've reached a point where they don't care. They're just breaking out. You see, the men broke out first. The women have now followed. So it's a system of destruction. Neoliberalism encourages gender-based violence. You talked about the court, Musa, and you said they tell you, oh, this docket is not there, or I was having a conversation with my comrade, and I know he won't be bothered by me quoting him, Brian Mulife, who was brutalized by this system in South Africa. I'm sure you know the name, Musa. He said to me 3-4 days ago, Khanyisile, Because I was telling him my frustrations. I'm like, I sit in the Justice Committee, but I think I'm gonna ask my party to change me. It's frustrating me. It's such a segmented justice system. I can't ask the Minister of Justice, do you think it's justice for young boys to be raped in jail? She will tell me, oh, I can't answer that because there's a Minister of Correctional Services. And he's correct, but for me, that's not justice. You are Minister of Justice. If I ask him, do you think it's okay for our police to be chased down the streets? Sorry, Oladele, but that happened by armed Nigerians and be shot at. He will tell me, yeah, I hear you, but I think the Minister of Police should answer that, and the one dealing with Home Affairs and Immigration, they should. You understand? So in the end, what is justice under neoliberalism, Musa? It is the court drama. That's what I call it. But Brian Mulife had a better word for me. He said, Khanyisile, justice. He said South Africa, but I understood it's neoliberalism. He said, it is not justice. It is law. So it is a court of law. It is not a court of justice. The two things are not the same. I see Musa frowning. That's why you can't represent yourself. You suffered the rape. You were abused. You were shot at. But the case says what? The state versus your perpetrators. Not Musa versus the perpetrators. It's a drama. It's a court of law where the drama plays out between which lawyer is smarter, which lawyer can speak better English, which lawyer has memorized that Latin code of words or Roman Dutch law or English law better. It's an act. It is not justice. When Brian said that 4 days ago, I was just like, now I understand why I hate being in the Justice Committee. It makes me so uncomfortable because I'm not a lawyer, I'm a criminologist. I approach the law from a social justice perspective. This thing is about statutes. Law number so and so in 1880 who did this, so because that was permitted, now it can be permitted in 2025. It is not law. It is not justice, sorry, it is law. So we don't have justice in neoliberalism, we have the law. The two things are not the same. That's why the Afrikaners did not even pretend about it, Oladele. Before 94, they had Minister of Law and Order. You know, it is about the law and keeping the order so that capital can flow. Neoliberalism is not bothered about how you were impacted, Musa. It is not bothered about the wound you are carrying. It's not bothered about those people can even go to court depending how smart their lawyer is. They can each get 5-year sentence and there's nothing you can do about it. You can protest, you can appeal, but hang on. Haven't I suffered enough for me to be going through appeal and ordeal, seeing a lawyer, telling me about that law and that? No. So this is happening, Oladele, because these are courts of law. For me as a criminologist, I talk about reparative justice, restorative justice. I want the person who suffered to heal. I want the crime to fit the sentence. No, in a court of law, the crime does not fit the sentence because it depends how smart your lawyer was. In South Africa, actually, the joke is it depends if your lawyer was an Indian, because for a long time we had good Indian lawyers. So if you have a good Indian lawyer, you will be declared scotch-free even if you are guilty. That's the thing with neoliberalism. It doesn't mean because you are found guilty and you are sentenced to 20 years, you really did the crime. It means you had a lousy lawyer. It doesn't mean just because you are scotch-free, you are not found guilty. You are actually not guilty. No, you had a good lawyer. In between, yes, you find cases where, yes, the person was really guilty. In between, yes, you find that, okay, this sentence really, befits the crime. It's not a norm. It's a court drama, and it depends who acts better in that court. I think I'll leave it there.
I remember when I took my pre-law classes, asking the professor who was teaching us criminal law, was a criminal law defense lawyer. And the stories he was sharing with us were so horrific. And I said to him, how do you sleep? How do you look yourself in the mirror? And he said, I'd sleep just fine because I know I followed the law. I
Exactly.
sleep just fine because I know I followed the law. He represented, one of the stories was a man who killed his girlfriend, cut her head, and cooked it for guests in his house, the head, and served it to people in his house. That's the type of people he was representing. And he said, as long as he's following the law, the word of the law to defend the person, he will sleep fine. So this is the system we have. As long as they can maneuver and strategize and block the loopholes, and that they've done well. And so morality is completely taken out of the case. Humanity is completely taken out of the situation. It is a game, like Mama Khanyisile said, it's drama, it's performance. Who can perform the best? And then the judge decides. Like, we think we are watching American Idol and that's the only drama. No, the court system is drama.
Yes.
And your story, Musa, is evident to that, because why else, other than entertainment, to those who are watching, are they asking you the size of this person who you know?
But by the way, I forgot to say one thing. I talked about this, and I think Musa listened to it, because I spoke on GBV at the start of the 16 days on behalf of MK Party, and I used the same arguments that it's liberalism. But I used one other fact, and I could see everyone at Parliament just stop and look at me like, huh?
Yeah, so that.
There was a time under capitalism in Europe when you were raped, Musa, the judge would ask you, I'm not making this up, how far was the penetration? Like, how many centimeters in?
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to your sound. Is it on my side?
It must be on your side. We can hear her.
It's on your side.
Just when I want to hear.
Okay, you hear us now?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, from 5. Okay, I'll find the headsets. I think it's good.
Okay. Okay, let's give her a chance.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I need to get this.
No,
that's fine.
No.
Oh, you're back now?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm back now. So,
yes,
there was a time in capitalist Europe where when you took a rape case to court, the judge would ask you, in fact, not the judge, the prosecutor would ask, how deep in was the penetration? Like, how many centimeters? You had to answer that. You know why? Because you had to answer that, Musa, how far the penetration was in terms of centimeters, because then the judge would determine if it was rape or it was a crime of passion.
Yep. It's a sick system.
Why is it my business?
Yeah. So by the time they came here through slavery and colonization, that migrated from how far deep, now they had migrated to what were you wearing?
Yes.
As if Muslim women wearing a hijab and a burqa don't get raped. As if a 5-year-old does not get raped. As if a 2-year-old does not get raped. Then they migrated from there. Then they ask you, okay, but that was 2 a.m. in a dark alley. What were you doing there alone?
Yes.
Like, hello, I don't have freedom of movement. I pay tax and I vote. Like, what are you asking me? And then they migrated. I mean, they just keep shifting the goalpost, you know? And for me to show you that this is neoliberal, how do you even ask a male policeman to deal with a survivor of rape? I don't even like to use that
Thank
word.
you.
An insulting word. Nobody survives rape. We just make ourselves feel good when we say survivor. People take rape to their relationships, to their children, to their marriage. The rape becomes their relationship with alcohol or drugs. It becomes their relationship to that gender that raped them. I don't want to say to men, because now even boys get raped, you know, although the scale is not as large as we see from the male to the female, but boys do get raped by other men. But also there are women who rape young girls because of rape. If I am 40 sleeping with a 15-year-old, it is rape. What are they consenting at 15? You know? So nobody survives rape, but yeah, it's neoliberal.
I think at this point, what is more concerning for me is that we have not really started the conversation of the reality of continuing after the incident, because that's where a lot of immorality comes from. The very same woman is supposed to bring up a child that understands what respect is, what love is, and everything is. You're talking about a
Trauma.
person. And I said that, I mean, this happened to me years ago, but there are days where I cannot face it. There's days I cannot handle it. There's days that you'll have a trigger. And what happens at the time, you're not thinking of what is, it places you at that incident. So every time you have a constant fight to say, I'm going to beat this. And I'm supposed to concentrate. I'm supposed to be a woman with proper values, because all of you are expecting, everybody else is expecting that there must be the way you carry yourself. You know, I have the one battle of saying I'm going to wake up and at least face, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't make it. You know, I don't watch TV for a lot of reasons. That's why now I'm glad there's YouTube. You'll write there and say, Kumbukeni, and you'll get the content that you want. So you don't watch anything that is going to come there. So the society that we have right now, we've got all the names that we call it. But the reality of the role, which I think this is still supposed to go there, my brother Ola, that how do we get to this level of barbarism in these acts on its own? After you have raped a person and they're dead, and you still take them and you hang them, I think this is way beyond that. I think there's something that you're just not touching in it that we need to get to, because I mean, it's done. That young girl was hanged after she was killed already, and they hanged her there because they, you know, it's the level of barbarism. But also, we still sit. I was with the kings. I'm here for the royal with the royal leadership and that, and they are talking about issue of the gender-based violence because they touch on it. It's relevant. So when they mention it, they're going to look like they understand things, but they will say that. And their first question is like, but Nani, even you women.
It's coming back.
So I have 15 minutes remaining on my battery, so I'm going to switch my video off and just get my battery and plug it in.
Okay.
So, you must stop the things that you are doing which aggravates us, because a man should not be treated like that. When the way you would be speaking with your man.
Yeah, we heard you, Khanyisile. We did.
The way you would be speaking with your man, and to expect that man, what do you think that man is supposed to be doing?
Sorry, I have 15 minutes remaining on my battery. So as you continue, I'm just gonna switch my video off and plug it in, but I can hear you. The charger is
no, it's okay. It's all right. It's fine. Yeah. And we are not dealing with that role that is left vacant of who I said last time when we spoke, Kumbo, I said, we have gotten to a point where we want to believe as women that it's okay for us to do without men. It's a lie. It's not okay.
But this is what it has done to us.
Yeah. But that's not the reality.
You're right.
If we're not going to deal with it from the part of the reality that at the end of the day, we do need men. But what type of men do we need, and how do we get to have those men? Because I'm not comfortable with all the money I have, that I believe I have, where I can take my daughter to private school from grade 0 to grade 12. There's no way I can father the child. There's no way.
Yeah. And as Musa is coming back in, this is why I say this conversation needs to be a how do we heal the family conversation, not how do we heal the woman, how do we heal the man, how do we heal the child, how do we heal the family conversation.
It's deep.
Exactly.
It's very deep, man. It's very deep.
Because the young men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because when you look at it, it's the same men from a particular home. They basically bastardized to go out there to do these things to the girls.
Yes. It is also the what we call it. It is also the what we call it, because I kept saying that we do not have a gender. It's not a gender. The issue we're dealing with here is not a gender, because it cannot be affecting all of us if it's a gender. We should be having men that are saying, it's nothing to you. But we've got my brother Oladil who said, why are we men is doing that? That's not gender. Yeah. So he's equally affected until we also name it right, so we are able to all come to the table and sit and come with strategies that how are we as a collective, those of us who are sane enough, how do we move those who are not? Because it's across the board. I mean, Sis Khanya has raised it, that we've got women that are now, it's a new thing. We've got a new normal of women who are raping young boys.
It's been happening. It's just now coming to the front.
It's getting worse.
As Mama Khanyisile was saying, Musa, this is neocolonialism. Yeah. What it does, what it's really genius at doing, is keeping us talking in separation instead of uniting and talking in a powerful way, right? So when we say gender-based violence, it becomes now a woman thing. The men are feeling left out. So guess what the men won't do? They won't support us, right? Because now they're feeling like they're being attacked. So the men won't support us. When you call it men abandonment or something, the women now are defending themselves. They won't support the men,
of course,
because they're not being attended to. But we as Africans, have we thought like? And you're right. It's not just women. It's not just men. This system is dehumanizing us all. And that's what it is. It's dehumanizing us all in every way, Mama Khanyisile was saying, through education, through the rapes, through the court system, and we continue to be comfortable as Africans in a system that isn't ours, that is taking our humanity, when we know we have our way. Mama Khanyisile, you were saying before about the punishments that they get and all that. Our way was about healing.
Yeah.
Healing for the person offended, for the community offended, but also healing this human being who did this thing so that they don't continue to do it.
And the way if you're going to go to a men's conference and all what you're trying to do is to cope with your wife at home who is not there when you're having this conversation, what is the point? Because if this supports you getting to understand how to become a better man, it is better in my presence, because I will tell you that, you know what, baby, you're doing it all, but this is not it, so you're busy there. And when we do that, we then become enemies of each other, which shouldn't be the case, because we also want to prove, no, women are not like that, no, men are not like that. So we have moved from dealing with the problem, and we've got so much money that has been that is being poured to all these activations of the 16 days of activism and all those things that are happening, which has absolutely nothing to do with the real problem that we've got, and it's just right under our nose. And those are conversations that we are not having. The reality is that we're not going to stop brewing broken boys as well as girls. I watched a video, in fact, I was shown a video 2 weeks ago by a school principal who was beaten by the learners. These young girls, they said after they wrote matric that they are done now. So they had the hookah pipe, they were wearing gowns at school, and they were doing everything. And they said to the principal, now we want to sleep with your man because to show you that we are at your level. And they were on top of the classroom smoking and doing all those things. No one can teach. And the law also doesn't allow you. How do you reprimand capacity and your position as who? And these children have seen it all, because one, they are pre-exposed. I will always say, we as Africans, we're not going to get anywhere before we deal proper with the issue of the land, because the issue of the land does link to this. And ask me how. And I always said, there's no way we're going to, if we're not going to address properly the issue of the land, we will continue having these things. If you have a bedroom for your child and you're having an argument with your men, you can send them to their bedroom. If you're staying in a shack where the argument is happening right in front of these children who are watching mommy trying to protect papa who is dealing and everything else, what are we instilling there? if you are going to have children who are pre-exposed to the sex because mom is up on the bed as they're sleeping down there, they thinking the children are sleeping, they are exposed. And that's where the land comes in, because when the issue of the land is addressed, you know that you are 16 or you are 18 or you are 20, you are big enough, go out there and work for yourself and start your own family. So that is this issue of the space as well. So all these things are just the fruits of the reality of the challenges that we are not looking at because we are facing it. So there's a lot of things that needs us to have the sober in a thing, because the pre-exposure and all those things that are happening in front of the children, well, we can give them morals, but if they will hear the argument that is, even if you're not beating each other, but the way you're going to be talking, because you can't send them to their room, you also don't have a space for yourself, because when you want to go to the toilet at night, you're going to use the very same bucket in front of this child.
Yeah.
So everything you just said, Musa, is actually neoliberalism, because people didn't live like that outside of a capitalist system.
Yeah.
So everything you just said and more, because that argument, while spot on, it presupposes that if it's an 8-room house and they all have their rooms and there's privacy, they will not rape. I'm sorry, my sister, they rape as Oppenheimers, rape as Chase Morgans, they rape as who are these rich families? Call them out.
The Bushes. How about that? The Bushes. How about that?
I trust you to go there.
Who was that president
The
who was caught
Clintons.
with a woman in the office? Exactly, the Jeffrey Epstein case.
The Clintons.
How about we go there? The royal family.
Yes, they rape as royal families. It is the economic system. You know, sometimes I feel like there was a mountain that was so high that the whole world can hear, and I'll climb that mountain with a loudspeaker and just say down with capitalism, because neoliberalism is the highest form of capitalism. It's a capitalist system. The aim of capitalism is to get profit by any means.
Sure.
We must invent HIV and make them sick so that they can be dependent on the system, and we can sell ARVs, we'll make exactly that. If we should design a system that robs people of government investing in social services so that they become poor and they become frustrated because they are diabetic and they go to the hospital and there's no diabetic medicine, and now they get home and they take out that anger on everyone, we are going to design it. Now, capitalism is a system that was made in hell. There is nothing in capitalism that is adorable. Nothing. How do you pay? I don't even know how much they earn. Oladele, you'll help us here. How much do you pay an average soccer player in England?
Oh, crazy money. You're talking about probably, let's just say millions, probably not 20, 30 million a year.
Millions.
And that's euros.
Dollars.
In pounds. 40, 50 million easily. Some of them earn about 200 million a year.
Musa, you have someone whose sole purpose in life is to entertain, because sport is entertainment.
Distraction, yeah.
200 million euros a month.
A year.
Their sole aim is to entertain. If we are hit by a disaster like COVID, they can't help.
No.
If there is global warming, they can't help. And then the people who are designed to make sure of your continuity, those who are dealing with these diseases, those who are researching, those who are the primary school teachers who are supposed to form the foundation of morality of education, those are the people you don't even the greatest of things. So where do you think society is looking? Capitalism is a system that makes you salivate after bling and more money and more this. It's a system designed to make you feel ashamed. Khanyisile cannot say, I don't have a car, because Khanyisile is a member of parliament, and it is shameful for her not to have a car, and she's a doctor. It is a system that says, you are a lawyer. How can you say, I didn't eat last night? You are a lawyer. You are a disgrace to the profession. of lawyers. It's a system designed to shame you every step of the way. It's a system that says whatever happened to you, it's your fault. That's why in religion, have you listened to born again people talk to one another or talk to you?
I was
there for
one.
some time. They say,
Me
I was
too,
one
Musa.
too. They say things are not working out for you. Maybe you are not praying as much as you are supposed to. It's always your fault.
I literally
Maybe
had
your
an uncle
faith
say
is
that to
weak.
me on the phone the other day.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe your faith is weak. If you just trusted more.
Yep.
It is capitalism, guys. Religion is part of capitalism, by the way. It's a big part of capitalism. So I'm very anti-neoliberalism. I can't help myself. If I'm given a topic to speak in parliament, it doesn't matter what topic it is. I find a way to bring it back to neoliberalism because that is the evil in the room.
Yeah.
It's the evil in the room.
It is. It is.
Capitalism is a system that says in South Africa, the ANC won 39% of votes. Why are they in government? How are you governed by someone who won 39% of the votes?
Yeah.
Neoliberalism will say, okay, they still got the most votes than the people that followed. No,
The maneuvers.
re-elect, go back. You have no leg to stand on, dude. Utole 39%. You got 39% of votes. You are not government of the country. Get that through your thick skull. You are not. But capitalism says that's how we work. If the party that got the most votes got 10%, it will form an alliance with those that got 9% and 8% and 2% and 1% until in the end we have a government that works, a government of the day. That they are espousing for totally different things, it doesn't matter. As long as we have government there and capital is waiting to make money. It's all about capital. You voted, it didn't go well. Listen here, South Africa. We really, excuse my language, Kumbukeni and
Me?
we don't give a shit. We are capital. We want to do business. On Monday, South Africa must be open.
Right?
Business. So I don't care how you form that government, Ramaphosa. If you must go and kiss the hand of the Democratic Alliance, you will kiss it.
Yep.
And you will lie in bed with them and make a government.
And that's probably how the calls go
capital,
too.
Want exactly.
I hope Musa comes back in because I was going to, as we continue to expose the system of neo-colonialism and capitalism.
No,
yes,
it's the same.
Right? It's the same system.
Neoliberalism.
Neoliberalism for them.
Neoliberalism. Yes, yeah. All of it. So this issue, and I hope Musa comes back, this issue of again, now we're going to the pharmaceuticals, right? The medication produced, giving her nightmares. Like, you're supposed to be healed, you're being given nightmares. It is causing you now mental issues. And they tell you they knew that, but they didn't tell you before. They are asking you now after.
Unduku, as I'm listening to all this, I'm just, I'm just sitting there thinking all these things are tied together. They're basically all mess. It's a mess.
Yes,
Musa, we're talking about the medication and it being intentionally designed. And for those of you who haven't read, 2 books I'm going to recommend right now as we talk about this subject. Number 1, Urugu by Marimba Ani. It may seem extreme, but please patiently look through it because she's telling you.
Sorry, you need to write it because your pronunciation in that of Southern Africans is not the same. So I know because I've read it. So please, someone write it down.
I'm doing it now.
Thank you. But she explains to you and Africans, my brothers and sisters, Wana Ubuntu, you must read this book to understand your enemy. She explains to you why white people move the way they do. We're not talking about your friend who is nice to you, white man, or your girlfriend, white girl who's nice to you and you hang out with. We're talking about the system of white supremacy, the system of whiteness. That is what we're talking about. So don't come for me with your, I know good white people, I don't give a shit, like what Khanyisile said. I'm talking about the system of whiteness that is dehumanizing. The book explains why they are the way they are. And because we have been in, no, that's not the spelling. I'll write it.
Is it?
It's Yurugu. And Marimba is
Yurugu, okay.
Marimba. And we have been infected by this culture. And you know what? Let me make it simple, right? When a virus infects you, it causes symptoms. And it's funny that we're talking about a virus, Musa. Look at this. Full circle.
Yeah.
It's funny we're talking about a virus, right? The symptoms show. When a virus inhabits your body,
Yes.
the symptoms show. What virus has inhabited our body since the invasion? Whiteness.
Capitalism.
But led by who? Right? Led by who?
By Europe.
By Europe, right? And they had gone for years, which is Yurugu explains, they had gone through years of dehumanizing amongst themselves that detached them from their humanity.
Yeah.
And they did not take time to heal. They did not take time to heal. They came out of that survival mentality, wanting to inflict on others the same thing they had gone through, because now they are mentally messed up. Right? They did not take a healing period. They came out with that trauma, that PTSD, and now came to meet us. And so now they have infected us as well. But we are Africans. We are the children.
So the period they are talking about, my sister Nduku, and thank you for bringing.
I'm gonna type
that
it because you're not.
I've done it.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, here it is there. The period you are talking about, my sister Nduku, is what's called the Dark Ages in Europe. It started with the fall of the Roman Empire around 410 CE Common Era, which is the era we are in. It's 2025. And they were in the Dark Ages for a very long time until the period they call Renaissance, which is a nice French word that means nothing but cultural revolution. And that cultural revolution they went through, they emerged out of it, as you say, clear of one thing. They are not going back to the Dark Ages. Let's quickly say what were the Dark Ages. From 4 to around 12 is what? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 800 years. There was no government in Europe. The only central system in Europe that survived at the time was the Catholic Church when the Roman Empire collapsed. The Catholic Church survived and became law unto itself. I'm not a Christian, but even for Christian standards, what the Catholic Church was doing during the Dark Ages is not Christianity. Telling people, if I sell you this rosary and you touch it 3 times a day, you will go to heaven. Telling people, pay to the church and the church will intercede for your departed people. They are actually in purgatory. The more you pay to the church and the more we have dedicated mass services to them, the more their souls are getting cleansed. That's when they started carving pictures of God and saying, touch this picture. I mean, it's called indulgences in one word. So for 800 years, they were terrorized and suffered that. And then to put the cherry on top, they then suffered a disease called, I don't want to call it the Black Death. That's what they call it. Fuck that name. Because why is it black? Only
the White Death.
It's called the bubonic plague. That's the proper name. It's the bubonic plague, which was brought by rats because Europe was so dirty because there was no government. Then it wiped at least close to 40% of Europe. And then this thing of bless you comes from there because the first symptom you sneezed. And then because they believed it was a curse from God, they would say, bless you, thinking they are cutting the curse. And 3 to 4 days was enough because then boils would come out, would vomit blood, and then you die. So they were so terrorized. My sister Ndugu is right. They didn't heal because through the Renaissance, they then had the first industrial revolution. They then wanted a place in the sun. They wanted where they can get, because Europe is a manufacturing continent. They needed the raw material, which is how they then came to with the slave trade, with colonization. So they came to us wounded and they inflicted those wounds upon us. And we are now inflicting them on one another because you cannot explain what's happening between Rwanda, Museveni, and Eastern DRC. Why are 2 sitting presidents owning a rebel movement in a neighboring country? That's why I said to you, Musa, this is neoliberalism. It's a system where the strong eat the weak.
Sure.
Big as DRC is, it is weak structurally because of Leopold, because of Belgian colonization, because of Mobutu Sese Seko, who built nothing but himself and his wife and his family. So Rwanda, because it's being pumped with by Western money and Museveni, they are now able to go into Eastern DRC, own a development, protect those mines for the Muzungus, and mine and harvest all those minerals that are required. And DRC continues to bleed while people tell us, oh, Rwanda is developing. And I always say, in that development, can they taste Congolese blood in that development of theirs? In the streets of Kigali, can you smell the Congolese blood? Because that's at the back of who they are developing. So it's a system. So because they came here wounded, I was elaborating on my sister Ndugu's thing, because they came here wounded from 800 years of nothing but dark ages and the bubonic plague. They came wounded and smelling and sick, and because we embraced them out of our kindness, we then inherited their sicknesses. Now we are all just the strong eating the weak, whether at country level, whether within the country. If you do it now, the ANC is going to send police and its GNU government. They're going to send police to shoot at you and tell you, oh, you didn't get permission for that protest.
Yes.
That's why it's a protest. Why do I need permission? That's why it's a protest.
It's a protest.
Hello? Why do I need permission?
I like that.
The man will take it on the wife. The wife will take it out on the children. The children will take it out on each other in school, which is what you were telling us about. It's a mess, as Oladele was saying. But I think I've talked too much. I think one thing I want to say,
yeah, please,
to our viewers, and I hope it sinks to all of us. Musa, I think you're gonna get shocked yourself.
Oh my word! Am I ready?
You have to be ready. Bed is GBVF because we forget the F, the femicide. It's gender-based violence and femicide. That's why we call it VF. Bad as it is in South Africa, can I shock you and tell you, I could not believe it when I found out. We are not even amongst the top 40 in the world. South Africa.
Really?
In Africa, yes. In Africa, we are not even amongst the top 10. Do you know why we know about it? Because in South Africa, there is freedom of the press and freedom of expression. You can't have it 100%, obviously. Some things are suppressed. But by and large, compared to the rest of the continent, it exists. So there's very little things you can shove under the table.
Wow.
Tell me any African country where a serving lieutenant general of the police force can go and videotape themselves, Oladele, and say, I, General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, is here to tell you that crime in South Africa is linked to the parliament. Where in Africa would that general do that without being dead the following morning, or waking up the following morning, or the state taking out everybody in their family, including the cat and the dog that were dead in South Africa? It has led to 2 commissions. The one that the president has appointed, which we have no faith in, and the parliamentary one where MPs are represented from all parties, and people are talking about it. So in South Africa, we talk about because of freedom of
wow.
I wrote the countries down. Listen to them.
Please share.
Top, and I didn't even go beyond 30. I just said top 30 in the world. Afghanistan, Yemen, Central African Republic, I was shocked. DRC, South Sudan, Burundi, Syria, Eswatini, I was shocked. Somalia, Iraq.
The kings you're traveling with.
Haiti, Niger, Myanmar, Sudan, the other one, Khartoum, Chad, Nigeria, Cameroon, Pakistan, Mali, Burkina Faso, Palestine, Guinea-Bissau, Papua New Guinea, Liberia, Djibouti, Madagascar, Mauritania, Republic of Congo, Kenya, Comoros. South Africa is actually number 58.
Please pause right there, Mama Khanyisile, because I want to say something quickly. Just pause right there real quick.
This was a real shock.
Pause right there real quick. No, that's not the real shock. Did you hear any European countries in there? Did you hear any European countries in there?
No.
Are we all going to sit here and think that this is not happening in Europe? Is that what we're all actually going to believe, that this is not happening?
I don't believe that, because I was waiting. I was waiting to actually hear.
So what have we become? A world that sees life through the white man's lens, and the white man has no fault.
I love
Look
that.
at all these African countries and how barbaric you are.
Sure.
And we don't stop to question. And we have been on the phone talking to our sister who's in Sweden about what's happening in Sweden. We don't stop to question what's happening in the UK. I'm in the United States. I know.
I was just going to say, you don't need to be talking to anyone who that is in the US.
The
you don't need to be talking to anyone.
Flying open of rape victims in the United States. Men, I mean, the prisons in the United States are built on raping men.
Yes.
And no Western nation was mentioned there. Oh, look at the Muslims and their disgusting selves. Look at the Africans and their disgusting barbaric selves, and the white man.
And that report came from them.
Exactly.
That report came from them.
But for me, the bigger thing also, while what you say is very disgusting, the bigger thing for me also is, when are we going to get Africa to talk about GBV in an open and honest way? And it's not even perfect in South Africa. We are still crying.
Yeah.
But when are we gonna get it there? Because
guys,
in some African countries, you can't even use the word GBV. They tell you it doesn't exist.
Of course you can't. Because guess what?
They tell you it doesn't exist. Meanwhile, they are marrying off 15-year-olds in forced
Mama
marriage.
Khanyisile, we're not using our own laws. We're using the law of the oppressor. And so if the oppressor wants to look good, and by the way, let me make this clear, very, very clear. I'm not absolving us of blame. I'm not absolving us of participation in this disgusting dehumanization. I'm trying to point out the source of the criminality that is not mentioned, and to help us understand how we need to change our thinking. While we deal with our healing, we cannot absolve them, because they will continue operating as innocent participants while they're still releasing
they are instigators of the whole thing.
We must learn how to chew gum and walk at the same time. While we are identifying them, we cannot stop addressing us.
Yes.
We must learn how to do and we are capable Africans must learn how to do it all at the same time. All of it. We don't have time to wait. We don't have time to be organized. Like, I'm talking about organized. I'm talking about the schedule. At 5 a.m., we're going to do this. At 6 a.m. No, at 5 a.m., Musa will be doing, and Duko will be doing, and Oladele. This is why we need to unite, so that we are doing it all at the same time. Because it needs to be done at the same time. Before, when I mentioned, we are the children of Ubuntu, which is why it is necessary for us to unite in this principle. Ubuntu is focused on healing and preservation of community.
Also for me, Nduku. Also for me, my sister, why is Palestine so far down on this list? I mean, violence is the order of the day in Palestine. Again, neoliberalism. Israel was identified long ago as a place to return the so-called Jews.
Why is
The
Israel not
so-called,
there?
and I say so-called Jews because I don't know who is a Jew. Because if we look at the Bible itself, as it tells us, how many entered the promised land? How many?
What promised land, first of all? And which God is this that is promising a land to some of us and not all of us?
No, wait. We don't even get there yet. That's number B. Let's start here. They were taken from so-called Egypt as a nation, which was enslaved, and how many were dying in the 40 years. A ground would open and swallow them wholesome if they questioned even why are we hungry today. A ground
but Mama,
so how many? No, let me just finish this. How many entered? The number is there. 2, when they entered, the same Bible tells us, because they were smaller than the people they were entering, that land was occupied by over 30 nationalities. The Jebusites, the Perizzites, the whoever sides, the Palestinians are one
All
of
the
those.
sides.
Yes, because they were smaller. It's human nature, it's mathematics. They were smaller than these so-called heathens. They couldn't help but start interacting and intermarrying. So who is a Jew? Even if we take them at their own word, who is a Jew?
There isn't
Who
any.
is this Arab-bred Jew that was kept with pure Jewish blood? Who are they? But again, neoliberalism went and identified Israel because they wanted to break the so-called Middle East and destabilize it because of the richness and the oil, so that they always have this catalyst in the Middle East that they can use to dismantle Arabization and to dismantle Islam. And that's the role Israel is playing, which is why they pump so much money into Israel, which is why they will never tell us Israel is a nuclear state, but it is. But they don't permit other states to get into the nuclear world. But
Which is
Israel
why
was
positioned
permitted.
where it is.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, in rounding up,
Hold on, I was gonna
Yeah,
quickly
we
finish
should.
the Ubuntu point, right?
Yeah.
We, because this is the second time I was trying to say it. We are children of Ubuntu, and we're not going to make
Yes.
the mistake the Europeans made and not focus on healing. We're not going to make the mistake of not removing the infection, the virus. So this is where we need to be. We, the father, the mother, the child, the man, the woman, the children of both male and female will come together. And together we will have the conversation of healing without blame. We will all understand that we have played a part to bring us where we are now. It's not going to be you do this, you do that. It's going to be what are we going to do now together to heal our family,
Yes.
to heal our community. That's the solution for, because we like to talk about, oh, so what's the solution? So what's the solution? So what's it? That's the solution.
That's the solution.
Yeah, Mama. Okay, have you got anything else to add to that
Also
as a
the
solution?
Also,
Yeah, solution. Yeah.
yeah, no. The solution is what Akina Mama Africa, which is a Afro-feminist organization operating in the continent, formed by 4 women who were in the diaspora. I think Kenyan, Ugandan, and I think one is Nigerian. I think 3 women or 4 women. Well, however, guys, you can find Akina Mama online. But they operate throughout the continent, and they are specific about Afrofeminism as different from Western feminism. And they've started conversations. I think they're going on their 3rd one now, called Beyond Neoliberalism. It's another thing we need to start interrogating. I can't be saying down with capitalism, down with neoliberalism, but we are not crafting a world beyond neoliberalism. How do we want it to look like?
Yes.
Because if we don't do that, what will happen is what happened with our so-called freedom. We will think going to vote is freedom because we didn't properly articulate what is freedom.
Yeah.
We were all united, but by knowing that we don't want the colonial governor, we don't want the colonial defense force, we don't want the colonial flag, but what do we want? We didn't articulate it properly. So my other solution, Oladele, is we need to start, you and Kumbugeni need to start hosting talks of beyond neoliberalism. We must get Afro-feminist macroeconomics people to come and break down neoliberalism, but also build with us what's beyond it, what other system.
Let the sisters know. Let the sisters know. Yeah. Let the sisters
Thank you.
know.
I will. Yeah. Thank you, sis. Definitely. Musa.
And Musa, and Musa, before you go, because it's interesting. Yesterday, we were at a gathering I had mentioned before, we'll be in community, and one of the men was describing his daughter was raped, and he just said it as if it was just, it's Tuesday, look at the weather, here we are, it's Wednesday. I don't want to go over the fact that you just revealed to us a very traumatizing event, and we're just going to slide through it and get past it.
By the way,
Musa is doing a lot of good work to heal now. And this is, don't even look for morality there. She understands something was done to her. It's awful. But in order to heal her community, she's taking on now the action to heal others, right? Because, and for those of you in South Africa, and for those of you, because clearly you have learned that South Africa is down on the list, in Sudan, in Congo, those of you who are asking, how can we help? The way we can help is by being there for each other, right?
Yeah.
The women who are with these men who continue to traumatize you. That's another thing we didn't even talk about. Who continue to inflict trauma on you. Like, we have to start being the healers. We're all wounded, all of us. We're wounded one way or another. But we have to wipe our wounds, put the plaster on it, and start healing each other. So, Musa, as I've said to you before, because we are in community, I am always here. If you need to text, if you need to talk, I am always here. If you have those moments where, because it was just you and your daughter and you were supporting each other, now you have a family. Now you have a global family that can support you. Just let us know, and then through our networks, like Mama Khanyisile, we will let you know who to reach out to. Or if nothing else, I'll just listen to you. You know, I'll just listen to you, because sometimes you just wanna. I've had moments where I just wanna cry and be heard. So again, we see you, my sister. I don't know if she can still hear us. Yes.
Yeah, she's back. She's back.
But she will listen. She will. Oh yeah, she's back.
Yes.
Yeah.
We see you, we hear you. We cannot take away what happened to you, but we are here for you now that you're on your healing process. And we will work with you to make sure that this does not happen, to work very, very hard to stop this from happening to others. So thank you.
Yeah, Musa, what I'll say is, please, I know you're doing a lot of work. Sorry.
Before you come, Oladele, because you will close as the host, I think for me, the big thing is that she is healing. She can't heal others if she's not healing.
Yeah.
So, and healing is a personal responsibility. People must understand, under neoliberalism, the system doesn't care about you. So if you don't take your own healing into your own hands, you will not heal. You will forever be a victim.
Yeah.
And Musa, just to make you laugh, there was a point, and there still is in a lot of cultures out there, where when a man has raped you, they ask him to marry you, and they describe that as taking you out of your shame. Imagine.
Shoo.
Wow, man.
Yep. We just talked about it yesterday. Yep.
You just,
And in fact, they may not even ask. Your family is the one who suggests this. Your own
Yes.
family takes you to
Yes.
wow.
Let's not forget Musa did not give her last word, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Musa. Anyway, I know you're doing a lot of work. Please tell people what you're doing, and just let people know, highlight what you're doing and how you're helping others, please. Because I since I've met you, I can see you're a ray of sunshine, man. You shine bright all the time.
Thank you so much, my family. Now I know that I've got family. It means a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sis Khanyi. I'm blessed. You see, with this family, I got to meet you. Most of the time, one of the things that we do not do is that when we have wonderful and good people amongst us, we dim the light, and that's what we need to do, to make sure that when we've got our own that are doing well, we don't feel intimidated by that, but because that's how we're going to build the communities of people with that insight. I really don't take it light. I wanted to say that my brother and my sister, we are there in the community. Thank you so much. I do a lot of active work in building communities of sane people. And I say insane people is because there's other things that we do in response of the pain. And that is not sanity as well, because when you're responding to the pain, you're bound to actually go the painful way. One of the things I was labeled to do, and I was called dumb, was to go to the prison. I went to prison. This is kind. I visited those guys before they died, because I needed answers as to what made you to choose me. I had to know, where do we get there, especially to people who never had a criminal record. What caused that? Because we cannot heal from only experiencing our pain and not understanding what causes that. And trust me, by the time they died, the others would call me for this airtime there, and we were actually even talking. I'm not saying it's okay to go through this and come up and be a strong person. There's other things that don't exist. People call me an iron lady.
She's coming. It's where she is. Just bear with us. Yeah, she's back. Where are you? Can't see you. Okay, there we go. Yeah, go on, sis. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Iron
There's
lady.
nothing
You
like
said
that.
Iron lady, yeah.
There's nothing like that. There's nothing like Iron Lady. I am a human being. I am a human being. I break at times. And as a result of that, everyone is okay to come and bring, and I will always go and knock on those doors and get the solutions. All I'm saying is that in each and every one of us, there is something good that will be the change that we will push it to Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. When someone is doing something wrong, they will say, where's Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi? And I'm saying, why are you not your Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi in what you are able to do? So we need to build communities of those people that will understand that as he's doing his bit, there is my bit that I'm also supposed to be doing, so that we can get to be getting the solutions. And my biggest one is that we need to change the dipstick we use to measure success, so we can save those boys who are frustrated there, because we think success is a degree that you're going to only get from the thing. Success is all the flesh. We need to change the dipstick, because that's not what success is. We've got children who are perishing at the young age with skills that will do a lot, and that's what we need to do. We capitalize on taking what is good about them, and we change that to what is going to feed them, because once they stop being bored, once they stop being hungry, they will want to do something to show that they're able to provide. But we have also succumbed to what has been called success. If you do not have a degree, we've got good drunk electricians, good drunk mechanics, and all those things. How do we start? By doing that. We enlist that. We build programs that are going to make sure we make the money comes from them, so they can understand their value. We've got bored children who do not know who to go to, and as we are building, we cannot do it without communities. What I do, you can just visit my pages. I've got a lot of them. Facebook, Soweto Speaks, we're there. And what am I? Where did this start? When I shared my story, I said people were there watching. And that's what we keep doing. Was I expecting people to go and take a bullet for me? I wasn't. But I wanted to share the story and say, you know what? There was this person that was so worried, and they wanted to take my numbers and to check or something like that. We are now masters of camera, all of us. The only thing we do is to capture so we can post first, and there's nothing we want to do to get the things back. There's a lot of things that we can do, and Africans are more than capable than this mediocre of everything we present. When it's African, it's third class, and that will never work. We can heal, and in that healing, we need each other. There is no one that can do it by themselves. And I'm happy we've got this. And those people that have shown interest, I'm sure there's professors and doctors from the University of Chalimbana here in Zambia who have joined. I saw some comments there, the messages. So we're going to keep building communities with those same people. This color needs to change the thought, because everyone has told us what we are except for us telling them who we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Musa. Thank you very much. Guys, Unduku, you want to say anything before I round up?
No, I think we said it all. Musa, I almost said something. I'm just going to say it, and you do with it what you please. Mama Khanyisile mentioned Eswatini. Hold them accountable.
I trust you.
No, I know that we are late, actually. This thing of Trump sending murderers and rapists to countries. I actually didn't see the interview, Musa, but it's a clip. I think it's SABC that's using it. I don't know if you've seen it.
Okay, I'll find it.
It was one of the ministers of Eswatini, and this South African presenter was saying to them, are you really taking rapists and murderers into your country?
Exactly.
And her response even terrified me. She says, Eswatini has got more dangerous criminals than murderers and rapists. I'm thinking,
wow.
What can be more dangerous? What can be more dangerous?
Instead of just saying they paid us a big check and we like money. Instead of just saying we like the money that was given to us, which is really what it is about.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, Musa. Thank you, Mama Khanyisile.
I will trust me. Trust me on that one.
Yeah. Guys, we've spoken about a lot today. We've spoken about a lot. And when you think about it, because as I was listening, I was thinking about it. What is boiled down to? It's capitalism.
Yeah.
It's the root cause of all the problems that we're facing in capitalism. You know, I post a lot on LinkedIn. People follow me. I've been hammering capitalism lately. I did a post where the capitalism is greed. It's basically the catalyst for all the things that you're saying. And as Africans, if we think our liberation is going to be based on the systems that's basically freezing and messing us up, we are still dumb. Me and my wife were talking today, and one question she was asking is, as Africans, why are we so gullible? Why are we so susceptible?
Yeah.
What's about us that we get so gullible and susceptible to everything that's thrown at us that we don't defend ourselves and wake up? When are we going to wake up? Anyway, we leave that for another day.
Yeah.
It's something that we need to talk about. Go on, sis.
One book I forgot to mention that people must go and read up to see the brutality of capitalism and neoliberalism is called Confessions of an Economic.
Oh yeah, it's been on our program before.
Yes.
Guys, go into the merging Alkebulan and just search for Okumbo Kenny. We've had John Perkins on our program before. Just go listen, please. Go listen to that. It's very, very important for you to understand how this system works. Once again, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for being a part of the community. And guys, let's be about Ubuntu. It's not about the talk, it's about the work. Let's start building together. And that's what we're doing here. You can see us collaborating. This is all we're doing. And once we find each other, we're going to keep building. And that's what we're going to do. Thanks, everybody. Hopefully, maybe next week. But if we don't see you next week, then have a nice Christmas. But we're trying to bring it for next week. But maybe me and
No. What you mean have a nice Christmas?
Yeah.
You can't talk out of both sides of our mouth.
Excuse me.
No,
we don't do Christmas, guys.
Nullified. If you want to be sarcastic and ironic, you say, get crazy, lose your Africanness, spend all your money on the so-called Christmas, buy all these things, have a Christmas tree with snow in Africa in December, Christmas tree with white snow in Africa in December, spend all your money, get crazy. We'll meet you in January when you are broke.
When you're broke.
Uniform and you can't pay your fees and you don't have money for grocery. So go crazy, Africans. Lose yourselves. We'll meet you in January when we are broke.
All right, guys.
I knew that you were not going to get away with that.
I had to bring that up, guys. I'll see you all later. I think me and you, we need to come back and rant next week for the final one for the year. Let's come back, me and you. We can just rant, just summarize the whole year.
Spirituality. How about that? Let's
spirituality to finalize the year.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's for next week. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. See you.
How do we survive the Christmas capitalist holiday?
Yeah, I think that would be a good one to talk about. Actually, yeah, that's a good.